when you review, it's not only about what you get wrong, it's also about everything you get right and everything you have that, but you still have difficulty with. So let's say you're down to 2 answer choices. Half the time you pick the wrong one, half the time you pick the right one. You don't want to focus only on the ones you get right, but on the ones you get wrong, because the ones you got right, it could have just as easily gone the other way next time around. And so if there's any ambiguity in your understanding, you risk getting it wrong the next time. So let's say that you're scoring at a 160, you're doing pretty well. You're getting maybe 20 questions wrong, but there's another 5 to 10 questions that you guessed on and got lucky. Because it could have easily gone the other way, you've got to study those too. I want you to have a running list, like a journal or a diary or a document or something listing everything you ever got wrong and everything you ever had trouble with. And I want you to reattempt those questions a week later or a month later and do them again and again. If you ever got it wrong, I want you to do it at least 3 to 5 times and see, are you getting it right the following times? Because if you get it wrong at least once, that's a problem. Because then you could very easily get it wrong again in the future. You have no way of knowing that you'll get it right every single time unless you're attempting it all of those times. So save that journal, run through it multiple times, and see where you stand. That's really your best way to improve your understanding going forward, because the LSAT has a lot of tricks on it. It has a lot of traps, and you're probably not falling for every single trap or you'd be getting a 120. So if you're not doing that and you're getting at least some questions right, that means you have some understanding and you're not falling for all the traps. You want to see which particular ones you're falling for. You want to see if it's a confusing question stem. You want to see if it's a confusing method of reasoning in the stimulus, or you want to see if there's a particular trap in the answer choices. Yeah, and you want to see if it's a trap of encouragement towards a wrong answer choice or a trap of discouragement away from a right answer choice. And whatever it is, you have to focus there and see what your mistake is so that you can avoid it in the future. There are patterns to this. The LSAT really is a test of pattern recognition. It's not a test of memorization. It's not something you can cram for. And of course, it's not anything you ever learned in school or anything like that before. It's something else altogether. It's a way of thinking. It's a mindset. It's about being critical and skeptical and honing your short-term working memory to hold multiple factors in your head simultaneously. And so I want you to keep that journal, keep that running list, reattempt problems. If you have the PDFs, you could print out multiple copies, especially games, do them again and again and again. And for those who retake and are worried about having burned through every single question ever, that's a lot of work, of course, given that there's nearly 100 released exams. But even if you did do all of them, that's okay. Even if you do every single one, you can redo them and learn from them again. Even if you only want to, let's say, study from the most recent couple dozen and redo those, that's fine. You redo them, you practice them, you do them again and again and again. And because the purpose really is not to measure yourself. It's not really to see where you stand. It's really to just improve your understanding and see the questions in more depth. And it takes time, of course. It takes a lot of work, but it's worth it. Redoing questions is valuable. It's not simply to measure your aptitude. It's not simply to see where you stand. The real value in redoing questions is to make sure that your understanding is solid every single time along the way.